We are going to talk about finding x and y intercepts from an equation. So when given an equation instead of a graph, to find the x-intercept, we must set y equals 0 and solve for x. To find the y-intercept, we must set x equal to 0 and solve for y. So what we're going to do is we're going to try number 1, and I'm going to draw a line in between so I have a workspace for my x-intercept and a workspace for my y-intercept. So for the x-intercept, what we're going to do, I'm just going to label this x-intercept, we're going to take our equation and we are going to replace our y with a 0, and now we're going to solve for x. So we talked about solving back in Unit 1. We're going to bring the 2 over, and you could do this a couple different ways, but you should get the same result. In the end, we'll divide x equals 2 over 4, which we can reduce to 1/2, or you could do 0.5. So our ordered pair is going to be 1/2 or 0.5, comma, 0. On the other side, for the the y-intercept, we are now going to take our equation and we are going to replace our x with a 0, and now we're going to solve. So 4 times 0 is 0, so y equals 0 minus 2, which will give us y equals -2. So our y-intercept will be 0, comma, -2. All right, for the second problem, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a line through my problem so I can have a workspace for each one. To find the x-intercept, I'm taking my equation and I'm replacing 0 in for y. So now I have my x, -2 times 0 is just 0, so I can just drop that and I have my 10. So my x-intercept is 10, comma, 0. Notice how for the x-intercept we have x left over. And then for the y-intercept, if we go back up here, y is left over. So for the y-intercept for number 2, I'm going to take my equation and now I'm going to replace my x with a 0. And I have 0 minus 2y equals 10. All right, 0 minus 2y is just -2y equals 10. Divide both sides by -2, and I end up with y equals -5. So our y-intercept will be 0, comma, -5. All right, so then in class, I had everybody just try problems 3 and 4. And then we skipped the rest and we worked on the handout. So just to kind of work through these, again, I'm going to make a space so I have room for my x-intercept and room for my y-intercept. So for my x-intercept, I'm going to put 0 in for y, and now I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to, you could do a couple different ways. I'm going to bring my 3x over. That way I'm just dealing with positive values. That should be a plus sign. That's not showing up. So I have 3x equals 7, and then I'll divide by 3. So our x-intercept will be 7/3, or you could do the decimal value, comma, 0. For the y-intercept, I'm now taking y equals -3 times 0 plus 7. Y equals -3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 7 will just be y equals 7. So my y-intercept will be 0, comma, 7. And then number 4, same deal. I'm going to draw a line so I have workspace for my y-intercept and my x-intercept. So for the x-intercept, I'm going to replace my y with a 0. And now I'm going to solve for x. Well, anything times 0 is 0. So this becomes 3x equals 24. Divide by 3. I get x equals 8. So my x-intercept will be 8, comma, 0. On the other hand, for my y-intercept, I'm going to take my 3x. I'm going to take 3 times 0 plus 4y equals my 24. And now we're going to solve. 3 times 0 is 0, so we can just drop that. 4y equals 24. Divide both sides by 4, and I get y equals 6. So we'll have 0, 6 as our y-intercept. Okay, from here, we jumped to the next part after the graphing, and we looked at writing an equation given the slope and a point. So this is very much a step-by-step repetitive process. Once you get the hang of it, it does come a little easier. So the big takeaway is that we want to write it in y equals mx plus b form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And the beautiful thing about these problems is that they're giving us, first of all, the slope and an ordered pair. So the first thing I like to do on my paper is I identify my m, my x, and my y. So we know slope is m, and then in our ordered pair, the x comes first, the y comes second. So as of right now, without doing any of the work, I know, and I can set up my answer, y equals my slope, which we know is 2, 2x plus, and then I'm going to put a space. We need to find out what is that y-intercept. So what I like to tell people is when you start the problem, set this up first, and then you know to finish it, you're going to have to plug in that b value. So even if you would forget how to do any of the rest of the problem, you would still get some half credit because you have most of the answer filled out. So what we're going to do to find that b value, I'm going to write y equals mx plus b. We are going to take every piece that we have and we're going to plug it in. So instead of y, I'm going to take my 1. Instead of my m, I'm going to put in this number here, which is 2. And instead of x, I'm going to put in my x, which is 2, and then plus b. So they're giving us all of the pieces to plug in. At this point, we are now going to multiply 2 times 2. So we get 1 equals 4 plus b. We want to get b by itself. So we'll subtract 4 on both sides. And we'll get negative 3 equals b. So this is where we got to be careful. This is not the answer to the problem. The answer to the problem now is taking that negative 3 and putting it back into the equation. So our answer will be y equals 2x plus negative 3, or you could say y equals 2x minus 3. And then what you can do to check this is take your equation. So you could take, not y equals, let's do 2 times your 2 plus negative 3. And you want to check to make sure it equals your y value, which is 1. If it does, you know that you got it correct. So you can check every single answer for these. Okay, let's take a look at, oops, didn't want to do that. I want to make that smaller. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. So again, it's the same setup. We are given the slope and we're given an ordered pair. So we know that this is m, this is x, this is y. So automatically, I'm going to set up my answer, which is y equals my slope, which is negative 2/3 x, plus my missing b value. So to find this b value, I'm going to take my equation, y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to replace all of the pieces I know. Y, negative 2. M, negative 2/3. And don't panic with the fraction. It's going to work out nicely. In parentheses, we're going to put 6 because that's our x, and then plus b. So with our calculator, we can easily calculate our fraction. So we'll end up with negative 2 equals, I believe that's negative 4 plus b. And then to get b by itself, we'll add 4 to both sides and get b equals 2. So to finish the problem, we'll put 2 in that b spot or the y-intercept spot. So our final answer is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. Again, checking your work, if you take negative 2/3, multiply by 6 plus 2, it should give you the y value of negative 2. If it doesn't, you know you made a mistake. All right, last example. Again, same steps. We have a slope of negative 1, and we got an ordered pair, negative 1, negative 4. Right away, I'm setting up my answer, y equals negative 1x plus my missing b value. So to find my b value, I'm taking y equals mx plus b, And now I'm going to replace all of my pieces. Instead of y, I'm putting in -4. Instead of m, I'm putting in, oops, that's not what I want to do, putting in -1. X, -1 plus b. So I'm getting those three numbers from the problem. So then to solve, I'm going to multiply my -1 and -1 together to get 1 plus b, subtract 1 on both sides, and get b equals -5. And then to check your answer, if you take -1 times -1 plus -5, you should get your y value, which is -4. So then what we did for the rest of class, we did 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to work on those, you can do that.